Hey people, this is part 2 of Beowulf the Dragon. Split into 4 parts because otherwise it's so long, more than a half hour. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment at the end of the video. Or just do it now. Skip some time. Seriously, no though. Do that. Thank you. Bye-bye. Talk to you guys later. Bye!
Beowulf, returned from the land of the Danes. Greetings, noble Wiglaf, companion and friend of Beowulf.
Greetings, my liege lord, King Hyrlak. I would have joy upon my return, if it were not for the grave tidings that drew me here so quickly.
Aye, the threat is deafening, but I will spread the news of your arrival far and wide. Hopefully that may dissuade Onella from pursuing his plan.
If my presence is good enough to put fear into the hands of Onella and his army, then indeed, this is a day to rejoice.
Behavior that is mad is the path to power among people everywhere.
Oh, sister, much have I missed you.
And I, you little brother. You have grown strong and powerful.
Later, we shall speak at length.
Come, tell on, Beowulf. Every ear here desires to listen to the tale of your journey.
Did you help Hrothgar much in the end? Could you ease the prince of his well-known troubles? I must admit, Beowulf, your undertaking cast my spirits down. Many a time I wondered if you should have gone. Let the South Danes settle their own blood feud with Grendel.
My queen, I am returned safe and sound, may God be thanked. And it was the right course of action to aid the old king.
When it's within one's power to effect change for the better, one should.
Sister, ever were you with the wise saying at the appropriate time.
Tell on, Beowulf. Inform us of your exploits.
Very well. Soon after I arrived, my companions and I made to bed down in the great mead hall, Heorot. King Hrothgar had taken his leave for the eve, when suddenly that maddened spirit, the terror of those twilights, Grendel, came to attack us where we stood guard, still safe inside the hall. But their deadly violence came down to remove the first of us to perish. Though rigged out for combat we were.
Who was it that you lost?
Hanshio, known to his companions as Yoronda.
Oh, God. No! Lana, go and comfort your sister. Yoronda promised Ilana that upon his return, he would come before you, my king, to seek permission for his betrothal to her, as her parents are dead and you have been her guardian.
This is sore news indeed.
Yoronda died an honorable death. His sacrifice allowed us to keep the fiend Grendel from escaping until we could deal him a mortal blow. Later, I will speak with Ilana and detail the heroic deeds and valor of Yoronda.
Thank you.
We must put aside the grief of Yoronda's death and hear the rest of the tale. If the monster Grendel was defeated soon after you first arrived, why your delay in returning to Jotland?
I received lavish rewards from King Hrothgar for the slaying of the fiend Grendel in a celebration that lasted a whole day. But then, another night descended upon us. Suddenly the vehement mother of Grendel avenged her son and wreaked destruction.
Did that King Hrothgar know that Grendel had a mother?
Nay, no one knew of her until she swept down upon Heorot Hall. Unguarded as it was, we thinking all threat had passed. That ghastly dam had struck back and laid low the king's counselor and closest friend, Asherah.
Did Asherah die?
We did not know at first, as that hag carried him off alive. Long we sought for Ashura and the accursed sea hag. We finally found what remained of Ashura.
Please, do not detail the manner of his passing more than what you have already. I do not think I could bear it.
Of course, my lady.
Now this makes sense. You stayed in the land of the Danes to seek out this sea hag.
Aye. It was a hard blow for Hrothgar to bear, the losing of his dearest sage. Harder than any blow he had undergone before. And so the heart-sore king beseeched me, in your royal name, to take my chances underwater and to win glory and prove my worth.
Your decision to stay was a correct one.
Thank you, my king.
You had to go underwater.
Aye. I went to my encounter with the Terramonger at the bottom of the Tarn. For a while, it was hand to hand between us. But finally, I beheaded Grendel's mother in her sea hall with a mighty sword. I myself barely managed to escape with my life.
You could not have held your breath all that time.
I had only to hold my breath on the swim down. Although I was sorely beset upon by sea brutes of all make and manner that hindered my progress. For once inside the cave, the water was receded.
It is at our sea caves on our coasts. 2 entrances. One by sea, then one through the depths of a lake.
Did you also swim to the cave, Wiglif?
No, my lord.
He was obeying my order. I left a contingent upon the shore to guard the king and his sons. That shore was a foul place, full of darkness and terror. I allowed no one to enter it with me, lest all my men be lost.
I see. Beowulf, you won glory for yourself and all of Jotland.
And not just glory, but King Hrothgar has sent many gifts to you. These my companions are unloading from the ships, and will be brought to your hall soon.
Your safe arrival home is gift enough, Beowulf, but gladly I will accept Hrothgar's offerings.
My lady, this golden torque, Queen Beowulf bestowed upon me as a favor before I swam into the depths in pursuit of the sea hag. I would desire that you have it.
I am honored by your gift, worthy Beowulf. May you continue to bless Eotlin with your prowess and courage.
Long have the days been for Beowulf and his companions. We shall return to our normal pursuits for the evening to allow rest for our champions.
Much needed.
Welcome home. Thank you for keeping him safe.
Later, we shall take counsel about the threat to the north. For now, rest, for I fear you will have little of that in the days to come.
Ah, my lord.
Are you certain that you wish me to attend this meeting with you?
Oh, I am absolutely certain. That room will be crowded with naught but weeping women. I would rather face Grendel again.
I have stood by you in the worst of circumstances. I shall continue.
Oh, my thanks.
Beowulf, before we enter, I wish to ask thee of something.
What is it, my friend?
I was shamed by the king's question when he queried if I had swum to the sea hag's cave.
I was afraid you would take it so. That is why I immediately took up your defense.
Never have I minded, neither do I now, abiding in your shadow. For to the shade of a great man can one learn much. However, I cannot abide in being thought a coward.
I do not believe Helac thinks you faint of heart. I think he was curious only.
I am not so sure.
I would like to decidedly refute this doubt in your mind. But I do not know the king's heart completely.
Then it is as I have thought.
This is what you must hold as true. That I have never considered you a coward. Ever have you stood by me in the most gruesome of battles. Never have you left me in jeopardy. Always, together, we have faced our foes.
But I didn't go down to the cave that day.
Because I would not allow it. Wiglaf, being my best companion means that you must follow my direction, where I see that one warrior is better than two. Not every battle should be fought with a multitude. Some fights must be single combat.
Word of the king's comment will spread.
Wiglaf, continue to live your life as you have done in the past, and rest assured, your righteousness will shine forth like the noonday sun.
Thank you, my friend.
Now, shall we brave the ladies?
Aye, my lord.
My pardon, ladies, but I have come to speak of Ilana. I have also brought my faithful companion, Wiglaf.
Come sit down, Beowulf.
My heart is saddened at the news that the betrothal that was in the offing will never be realized.
Had Jorunda told you of his interest in me?
Nay, my lady, he did not.
Perhaps he no longer cared for me.
Nay, that is not the way of it. You must understand, no man in my charge would speak of such personal matters to me. They would do nothing to influence me, their captain, in decisions of battle.
So you were the one who put Jorunda in a position so he would take the brunt of the monster's blows.
Actually, no. Our need was great. Our foe was the worst we had ever faced. I spoke with all 14 of my companions at fateful eve. We had formulated our battle plan, but the hinge piece was that someone had to lure Grendel deep into the hall to prevent his escape, as he certainly would have fled when faced with so great a force arrayed against him. That monster could run through the moors at a speed that we would be unable to give chase. We had to set a trap.
And that trap was Jorunda.
The trap was that someone had to lure Grendel deeper into the hole to prevent him escaping while the rest of us feigned sleep. But I asked no one to do this. I myself planned to be the bait.
Oh, Jorunda volunteered, didn't he? That's just the sort of thing he would do.
Aye, he volunteered. I tried to dissuade him, explaining the potent danger it would pose.
And he insisted.
Aye, he did.
My heart is still heavy, but no longer am I dismayed beyond reason. Jorunda died an honorable death.
My lady, Jorunda died an honorable and glorious death. It was his sacrifice that allowed the fiend Grendel to be slain, and the entire Danish countryside saved from the horrible marauding that for 12 whole years Grendel had wrought.
Thank you, kind Beowulf, for coming to tell me these things. Now, if you would not mind, I would take my leave to walk and ponder these things.
It is not good to walk alone. Wiglaf, please. Escort the Lady Ilana to wherever it is she wishes to walk.
Of course. It is my honor.
Will you stay and speak with the rest of us?
I would be delighted to spend time in such lovely company.
I would be frank with you, my brother. I have a concern I'm unable to voice to anyone but you.
And yet you're willing to speak of it in company.
I am, at least, with these loyal women as the company.
Very well, proceed. What is on your heart?
Only moments before I gave the messenger the letter that you received from me, did I hear from the threat of the north. I quickly scribbled those last lines onto the page.
Aye. It was that comment that sped me on my way, even more so than the pressing inquiry on the part of King Hielag. Do not delay. It is urgent.
Onella's forces are formidable, but I do not believe he is ready to face you, Beowulf. Your reputation has spread far and wide, and and I believe Onella planned to attack while you continued to be absent.
I ride often, so spend more time than the others in the stables. What Conrad says is what has been rumored. Often, the warriors or stable hands do not realize I am still about when they talk.
Hopefully, the news of your arrival will stave off any attack with the Swedes. But there is something else.
You do sound worried, Conradith.
I've had the opportunity to spend much time in the presence of the Queen and King. In the last few weeks, I have noticed that our king grows restless for a fight.
Do you think he has somehow sparked the potential aggression of the Swedes?
Nay, it was his brother, our Uncle Hathkin, that did that.
Well, then what is your concern?
Would you tell Beowulf what you overheard?
Siegfried, the king's counselor, came to the stables to talk to several of the warriors. He told them they were to prepare for battle. When one of the soldiers replied, the Swedes would die easily under their horses' hooves, Siegfried replied, "Be it Swedes or whomever else the king chooses to attack, be prepared to fight."
Too well do I know Hielak. He has always had the love of battle in his blood.
Indeed, he's spoiling for war.
And if one does not come to him that he can easily win, he will seek to wage one.
That is the way I've seen it.
If the Swedes stand down and Hielak presses to raid some other people, I will discourage it. But that is all that we can do. For Hielak will still make the final decisions.
Thank you. I wish to rest, so I'll retire to my personal chambers. I am happy to have you home. I hope your leave-taking was not strenuous.
As a matter of fact, it was.
Why was that? Do not tell me you left behind some tender interest.
Nay, it is not as you think. No Danish maid has tempted me. The only tender interest I have sits in this very room.
So it was other troubles that weighed on your mind, then?
I have left Hrothgar, and especially his son Hrethric, in a most dire situation.
As grim as ours?
Every bit. However, my allegiance is to the Outland first, and not the Danes.
I am glad to hear you say this. May it ever be so.
It will be, my sister. It will be.
Come, would you take a walk with me? I believe that Beowulf is anxious for a few moments alone with Runolf.
Of course, Lady Conradith.
It is best that we not be left alone.
Perhaps. Yet I would have a few words spoken privately with you.
I will not deny that I take much pleasure in your company, Beowulf.
And I in yours. Long have I watched you. You speak little but think much, do you not?
That would be the truth.
And your name, Runelf. Rune means secret, and elf means elf. And that is how I think of you always, as my secret elf.
You remind me of my father. He used to call me his secret elf. Rarely did he say Runelf. He always said that I hid things deep in my heart and could travel as lightly as an elf travels through woods.
That is an apt description. It saddens me that I knew not your father.
He was a kind man, strong in mind and body.
How did he pass?
In the war with King Ogintheo.
And your mother?
She perished from the grief of losing my father.
Heavy are the ways of this world. I can understand your mother's grief. I myself would rather suffer 1,000 blows to my back than to lose a love. Remember that, would you, Runelf?
I've called you here together today to inform you of the latest reports and to seek your counsel. Now, normally do I include women, besides the Queen, in my counsels, but you've shown your wisdom on many an occasion.
Thank you, sire.
Siegfried, please tell us what you have learned.
Since the homecoming of Beowulf, the Swedes have disbanded their forces on our northern border. Our scouts report no threat from Manila.
These are indeed welcome tidings. I would maintain, my lord, that we continue to keep a defensive stance. If we can rotate the soldiers out of garrison and allow them each to return to their homes.
Additionally, when we are absolutely certain we are out of danger, the bulk of the army can be disbanded.
This is indeed wise counsel, if not for a recent event. Please give the details.
Not long ago, one of our warriors was captured in Frisia.
Well, had he done something to provoke the people?
Nothing that we know of.
Well, then where is this warrior now? Let us ask him.
He was executed.
How come we to know this?
He had a companion that eluded capture and has since returned here.
Beowulf, they were our envoys of peace.
They said they were treated fairly enough until a particular banquet. They were returning to their quarters and were intercepted. Only the one escaped.
Here's the dilemma. Up until this point, this issue had little importance as we faced a larger problem with the imminent invasion of the Swedes. However, I cannot let this go unpunished.
What are you proposing?
A raid.
Our army is mustered. We are in a position of strength. It would not take much to land on the Frisian shores and show them some force.
This is ill-conceived. The Frisians may have had cause. Perhaps our envoys did something to provoke them. We should attempt talking to them before attacking them.
They are fierce warriors, not prone to mediation, only swift retaliation.
Has anyone tried to speak with them?
No. However, it would be a wasted effort.
If we can prevent the loss of life, on both our part and their part, by peacefully settling this, then that is the preferred course of action.
I do not want the Frisians on my soil any more than I want the Swedes stepping across the border. I believe a raid will show the Frisian people that we cannot be so easily intimidated.
But my lord, if the Swedes back down because they heard of Beowulf's return and his great victories in Denmark, then the Frisians should also have heard.
Well, that stands to reason. However, they have already displayed their ignorance of this fact, or they have no fear.
Why is that? What have they done?
A small sortie of Frisians sailed across the water and landed on our shores. They roughed up the people of a small village and stole several items.
Was anyone hurt?
No.
Then how do you know they were representatives of the Frisian king? They could just as well have been bandits.
That is possible, but I will not take that chance. First, they executed one of our representatives, then a sortie on the village.
My lord, please, I urge you to attempt talking instead of fighting.
I understand your plea for caution. I had hoped that you would agree that we needed to make the raid on Frisia. I respect your opinion, but I will not take your recommendation. Beowulf, ever since you have come of age, we have fought side by side. I myself will be leading the raid. Will you sail with me, Beowulf?
I shall, as I have pledged my allegiance to your throne. But I like it not